Good morning. It is Tuesday. Um, I've been asked to elaborate a bit on this concept of the Trail of Tears. And when it first came up, man, it resonated with me deeply because it seemed like it was for me perfectly, and it is. Um, and the reason I was asked to elaborate on it is because there's those that feel that this may resonate with others as well. So it's only for that purpose. If it's something that feels useful to you, then um, enjoy. If not, just cut it out and or cut it off and go back to whatever you were doing with respect. All right, we're all here on our path, our journey, um, and it's obviously there's accountability um, for our choices, our actions, and we're seeing our if we're aware, we're seeing our actions or the cause and effect of our actions is happening seemingly in a faster time space than it was previously. And I'm talking linearly. Like a few years ago, it would have been a kind of a different story or a slower response. If we're talking like throwing a boomerang and that boomerang going out and coming back, now we're talking about throwing that boomerang and it hitting back just immediately when you let go of it. What I'm talking about is the cause and react, the karma or uh, cause and effect kind of thing like that. Something that's real important to understand is first our tongues. Um, if we can, for the sake of this conversation or this talk anyway, um, talk about the tongue being a sword. And the saying that sticks and stones will hurt my bones, but words will never hurt me. Well, that actually is opposite. Um, the words do hurt, and the reason that the words hurt so bad is because there's an intent behind those words. And when we're sensitive people, in other words, we not only put things out, but we receive. We got like a built-in antenna in us, and it's not just the tone of voice, but it's the energy that's put out from someone else. So we're some are more aware than others of this, but pain is pain and hurt is hurt and intent is intent. And if our intent is to cut someone down, to hurt them, regardless of what the reason is, and we're usually feeling pretty justified, self-justified, that we're right in doing it or that they deserve it. Um, that's for each person to decide, I guess, on their own how entitled they are to be other people's judge. Um, it's spoken of uh, biblically and well, all across the board that we want to be real careful when we're judging other people. Um, and it's not just other people, it's situations. The reason is because we are not seeing out of their eyes. We have not walked their walk. We don't walk their path. We only have our limited view, um, or our perception, right? And if if we make a circle around, we've got just a couple of degrees of what's really going on at any given point. So we're real limited on what we see. Now, making assuming that we know any situation completely, we're way off the mark on that because actually we don't, you know. And the thing is, if we don't know the intent of another, we're not reading it right. Now we can usually feel when they're intent to hurt, because hurt comes out that way. But a lot of times it's our own insecurities that reads things wrong, and then we decide that they're when we read things wrong and then we react with the intent to hurt because we thought somebody was hurting us. Well, that becomes kind of an interesting situation, because we're the only one that was actually doing the hurt. And if the other party had no idea that what they were saying was hurting us, and then we react, and we come back with every intention to hurt because we felt hurt, that's where it gets so dangerous. um, I can talk from personal experience myself, that other being in a place where others' judgment got to me so bad, because it was directed and it was prolonged, and it got to me so bad, I wanted out. I didn't care. I just I didn't want to live anymore. There's a lot of people that go through similar things like that and are successful at leaving, and it's on the account of other people's hurt. Now I get it. It's usually a lot of it's misread stuff, and it's because they're hurting themselves. We only lash out because we feel either cornered, or we do it out of, we're hurt, and it's in our nature to hurt others. And what it's doing is it's when we see them hurt, or we feel that we've hurt them, then somehow we get, some of their energy, we power up on others' energy. Well, the topic here is a trail of tears. And if we measure our walk, our path, our journey here just by a trail of tears, whether they're our tears or they're others, and they're the ones we put on others, um, it's going to be amazingly painful for a lot of people to realize where they're at and turning back, and what that trail of tears looks like. If one can look back and see all those crying and in pain at our hands, that might be a wake-up call. Well, the point of this is to be a wake-up call, so that when that time comes, and it's coming, all things are remembered, all things are recorded, whether it be with, the technology of the day, or something that we don't understand. Everything, every thought, every intent, it's all recorded. Now, I'm not talking specifically of what you might get with the local church or something like that. I'm talking something a little bit different. It'll be maybe, some refer to as the Akashic records, or many different names, but it's all there. Um, Universal consciousness, or whatever. Fact of the matter is we are being observed, and what we do to others does affect our next step in this progression. Now let's look at it as life. We are immortal beings. We're energy. You can't make it go away. You can make it change form, but you can't make it go away. And I'm talking about an awareness a consciousness or an awareness, an identity that never goes away. Changed forms, but never, but always is that sense of you in me. If you think about it, your awareness, you sit and think for a moment. If that's turned off, everything is gone. There, nothing exists. So it's only in your awareness that anything is. I think that would be the same with all of us. I hear a cat crying. Hang on. Anyway, back at that. So we're gonna go on. I'm sorry I got sidetracked a little bit. Had a cat out there crying. It's real important that we look at ourselves and what we're doing. We can either be spreading joy, or we can be spreading pain and a trail of tears. We obviously want to be someone that's not, doesn't have this great waterfalls and dams of tears built up at our hands, at our intent. And usually that's our selfishness. It's all about us getting more, having more, wanting more, needing more, our own, serving ourselves. We might want to ask ourselves is, when was the last time we went and did something for someone else without payback, without monetary gain? But how often, it is important to look at how often do we sit and ponder or put others' needs in our minds and put energy towards that what can we do to help them? What can we do? Well, getting back to our words being a sword. Biblically, it was said, Jesus said something to the effect that it's not what goes in your mouth, it's what comes out of your mouth. And that is that sword that can go out there and cut someone down, or it can build them up. It's got that duality. That sword, can be used either way. It's like, what way are you using your sword? And then, puts a different light on it, that statement of live by the sword, you die by the sword. How many people do you cut down during your day, during your month, your week, your year? How often do you impose your shame, blame, guilt, all that? It's important because it does go out. It does affect other people. And whenever they're on a lower frequency or range, and I'm talking about turning in the dial, right? When we're coming from our lower chakras, if you don't know anything about that, I'd encourage you looking into that. It's an interesting body of work. It's old. It's been around for long, way before Christianity. And I'm not putting one in front of or behind the other. But on the lower chakras is the lower, the more primordial part of ourself, the flight or reflight, or fight or flight response area, our carnal pleasures, our and it's not coincidental that's so that in our groin area, our lower chakra. So, and then they go up. Well, these are our frequencies. So as you go, you're down here where someone is anger, that kind of thing. And as you go up, and your heart would be, love, and it keeps going. I would encourage uh, one to look into that. It's amazing, amazing uh, bit of information that really can open up someone's eyes. There's a lot of information out there about that. It goes along with Eastern philosophies as far as religion goes, but I want to stay away from religion in this conversation, and be more with spirituality, um, and growth on that form. Um, there's a saying too, that if you're not for us, you're against us. You heard a couple of presidents really going off on that thing, or saying that. Well, that that there's nothing that's really black and white. Um, but there is a lot of momentum in that statement, a lot of truth in that statement. Um, so we are accountable. It is an action that goes out. Looking at a body of water, or a pond, and we're all in this pond. A butterfly can come down and ripple the water, and that ripple will travel the whole length and the whole body of that water. Every ripple in this body, pond of water, whatever, does affect everybody that's in the pond, and we are all in that pond. So we've got these energies bouncing around and affecting each other. Are we giving? Are we taking? Are we, whatever? It's real easy to judge someone else. It's real easy to point our finger and to curse them, and to belittle them and criticize. That's easy. The the thing that was really really interesting for me was when we start measuring our day. Measure our day. Um, that was a mind opener for me, because you start measuring your day. How many people did I help today? And write it down. How many people did I build up today? Write it down. How many people did I curse out? How many people did I judge? Whether I said anything or not. How many people did I judge? How many people did I shake my head in disgust at? How many people? And take just a reflection of the day. And I think most people would be surprised. And if what I'm saying is true, which I'm certainly convinced it is, and the deeper school of thought will certainly agree with that, is that it does matter. We do matter, and we can either destroy our brothers or pick them up. It's not. Uh, what's not as easy is going out there and spreading unity, instead of being jealous of a brother that just did good, or won the lottery, or got a promotion, or whatever. Instead of celebrating it, we tend to go the other way. Yeah, we'll pat them on the back and say congratulations and all that, but immediately most of us will judge our situation, be like, well, why does he get it? Well, it's become evident to me that it's a wonderful thing to go out and roll with building someone up, helping someone out in that way, building them up, giving them hope. Team. This This thing about breaking others down and leaving this trail of tears is, well, we'll just leave it at that. Look back. How is your trail of tears? I know it's pushed me over the edge a couple times. You know, that bullying, that shame, blame, guilt, fear game. Yep, we are responsible, and whew, you know, we don't want anybody to take something that far ever, and we certainly don't want to be responsible for it. Could you imagine us acting out in a fit of rage or anger or or whatever, and going off on someone so bad that they were at their tipping point before you came along and you finished them off just because you were having one of our fits, one of our rages, one of our bits of anger? You know, and anger and coming off on someone else is probably one of the most selfish things we can do. And I did say we. I don't feel I'm any better than anybody else. But I can say too that no one's any better than we are. Someone might have a better track record out there building people up and doing what's right. But trust me, the where someone stands financially or what you have, I'm not talking about that at all. And I'm not saying that's bad. I didn't say nothing like that. A man or a woman, their measure is the trail of tears. That's our measurement. Look at that. You want to know where you stand? How's your trail of tears? That's important. That counts. That's forever. Remember too, I don't want anybody to get, you know, down on themselves, or that's not the point. You know, for any change to happen, it's always uncomfortable, and I'm nobody's judge. I only speak of my own path, but I know I've been on both sides of that fence. I've caused pain, a lot of pain, and that's a regret that's not shaken off easy. You know, I've hurt some people, made them cry, and well, that makes me cry. That's not something that folks, where's your trail of tears? We really need to look at that and start building each other up, holding each other up. You know, we got these powers and principalities that are keeping us apart and want us separate. They don't want us strong like that. That's a whole nother topic, which I'll gladly cover, but it's not going to be on this. It's important. Trail of tears. Look at it. Please look at it. And thank you. And remember, you're as wonderful as anybody as far as potential and possibility and what you got to offer. You are absolutely critical and a key player to us. Key. Critical. Very, very valuable. Very, very loved. Very important. You are. I love you. Thank you.